There is a crisis in Ukraine. Our beloved Jewish Ukrainians are under attack. The Jews always come under attack first, and we, like you, love Israel and the Jewish people. Together we are committed to standing with Jews around the world. Zechariah chapter 8. This is what the Lord Almighty says. I will save my people from the countries of the east and the west. I will bring them back to live in Jerusalem. They will be my people, and I will be faithful and righteous to them as their God. Thousands of years ago, the prophet Zechariah saw the time we are living in right now, a time when Jews who had been scattered throughout the earth would be brought back to Jerusalem, miraculously, and dwell once more in the Holy Land with the Holy One of Israel. By partnering with us on this project, you are part of fulfilling ancient prophecy. Every cent donated will go directly to the Ukrainian Jews in need, and together with us, we will be the hands and feet of prophecy in action.
Welcome, House of Destiny, to a very special broadcast. That video gave me chills. I'm Christy Desfontaine of the Israel Update channel here at House of Destiny, and I am absolutely delighted and truly honored to welcome to our show today Yael Eckstein, the president of the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. I absolutely adore this woman. Yael, welcome. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much, Christine. I absolutely adore you. So it's mutual, and I am so honored and really nostalgic to be back here with House of Destiny.
Well, that just, fills my heart. And for those of you who don't know, because we do have a lot of new viewers, Yael Eckstein, she is the woman that we have worked with over many years, that Kim connected with many years ago. And through her ministry, we've partnered with and built bomb shelters and helped out with hospitals and just all these different things that were needs on the ground in Israel. It was through their ministry that we partnered with them, and we have been able to be part of saving Jewish lives, like genuinely saving them. And what we're doing now, what we're reaching out to you about, our beautiful warriors, our viewers who have been with us, those of you that have been here for a long time and those of you who are new, there is a crisis going on in the Ukraine, and we have committed and have decided that we are going to help the Jews in Ukraine that are in need, and we're doing this by partnering with Yael. And as you saw in the video, this is an incredible opportunity when you actually think about it, to be part of ancient prophecy being fulfilled. And it makes me so excited, and it's a genuine honor to be able to do this with you, Yael. So I'm going to hand this over to you now. Please tell us about what you're doing, what is going on, and how it is that people can know that they're actually part of helping and being part of the solution.
Well, Christy, thank you so much. I have so many fond memories of being in Israel with Kim, with the entire family, the entire team.
Yes.
And it was amazing to see how House of Destiny was able to be part of biblical prophecy coming to fruition. There were so many times that Kim and I would be walking at an orphanage, and we would just be quoting the scriptures of take care of the orphans, or be at the delivering food boxes to an elderly and be quoting the scriptures of do not forsake me when my hair goes gray, do not forget me when I get old, al tashlicheni be'et zikna, don't abandon me in my older years. And what's happening now is just amazing for me to see how I really feel Kim's spirit just working through you now, and working through, of course, Jane, the entire team, to make sure that biblical prophecy in practice continues to be a mission of this ministry. So you guys always are wherever there's the greatest need. And I wasn't surprised that when I was actually boarding the plane to Ukraine, I couldn't tell anyone that I was there last week because of the security situation.
Wow.
And as I was boarding the plane, you were text messaging me saying, Yael, we want to help. You're in Ukraine still, right? We want to be there with the fellowship. We want to be part of the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews efforts to help save these lives. I was like, yeah, we're still there, Christy. And 2 days later, I wrote you, okay, I just got back. You're very connected. But the fellowship has been on the ground in Ukraine, in Russia, across the former Soviet Union for 30 years, feeding the hungry, clothing the naked, and providing life-saving, literally basic needs like wood for a wood heating oven for an elderly Holocaust survivor. We help over 80,000 Jews in the former Soviet Union, and especially now with so much uncertainty, with potential crisis looming that many people say is going to happen, many people say isn't. But you know what? No matter what happens, the fellowship is there on the ground providing food for the people who need it most.
Yes. And this is one of the multitude of reasons that I love you so much, not just as a human, but just what you're doing. You know, I've said this to you so many times, but I'm constantly inspired. For those of you who don't know, Yael has 4 children, and she just works so hard, and her whole life is committed to doing this. And it's genuinely an honor. I'm not just saying this. It's a genuine honor to do this with you and to know you and call you my friend. But for those of you out there, House of Destiny watching, every single cent that we bring in is going directly to helping these Jewish people who are in need, who are suffering, like Yael's been speaking about. There's a banner that will come up while I'm speaking. If you go to our website, you will find it there. When you donate to this campaign, you know, Yael went to the Ukraine. She went because that's Yael. That's what she does. It's like there's chaos. I'm going straight there. That's where I go because that's what she does. And when Kim was here, that's what we did as well. I remember being in Israel and a rocket had just gone off and he said, go. And I went and it was still smoke and debris everywhere. And that's what we, you know, when we're able to, that's what we do. But for everybody at home who might be going, how can I be part of this? By sowing, by donating, by giving to this. We've got a special fund set up already that's directly linked to Yael, and we know with absolute certainty that every single cent that is raised is going directly to help these Jews that are in need. And this is our mandate. As Christians, it is our mandate to stand with Israel. It is our mandate from God. The law, the command that was given in Genesis 12, verse 3 to Abraham, I will bless those who bless you. I will curse those who curse you. That Abrahamic blessing extends to every person who stands with in support of the Jewish people, as is evidenced by the fact that for thousands of years, through impossibilities, the Jews are still here, and that is only because the Holy One of Israel made a covenant with a man named Abraham and said, forever, I will be with you forever. And we are here now. Israel is a sign to us of prophecy fulfillment. We know how much there's still to go, but we know Israel is our sign. We are always watching what's going on with Israel because we know God's laid it out for us in the scriptures. And so our mission, our honor, our mandate is to get involved and to stand not just in prayer, but with our finances as well. And Yael, I don't know if there's anything you could maybe tell us about what it is that you've seen, like a difference you've seen being made in like a specific person's life through this kind of support. Because I know sometimes it can seem like, oh, well, it's kind of this big amount and 80,000 Jews, but every single one of those Jews that have been helped have a name, they have a story, and they've got something to them. So, and I know you mentioned Holocaust survivors. I can only imagine those people are probably the ones who are the most alone.
Yes, you bring up so many important points, Christy, and the whole time you were talking, I was like, preach it, sister, preach it, sister, preach it, sister. You got it. And I know everyone watching you gets it as well. It's exactly what you said. You know, I remember that when there's war, go there. That's what the House of Destiny does. And that's every year in January, February, I go to the former Soviet Union and people say, why are you going in January, February to the former Soviet Union when it's minus 40 degrees and the streets are icy and you have to climb over crazy like ice packet sometimes in order to get to these homes that don't have electricity. And I say, well, that's exactly why. That's when there's the greatest need. I'm going to be there when there's the greatest need, not when it's just convenient for me. And that's exactly what House of Destiny is doing. And so when I was there last week, as the situation became more uncertain and we wanted to have all of our emergency plans in place to continue providing, we always have emergency contingency plans ready in Israel, anywhere in the world, for if a crisis strikes, we're the first ones that are able to respond. During the Corona crisis, the fellowship was the first one to respond. During war in Israel, the fellowship's first one to respond. Yeah. And so we always have these emergency plans ready just in case. So I went to Ukraine just to make sure no matter what happens, we could provide food and medicine and clothing. And I met two of the most amazing people that really touched me in a deep way and described exactly why our ministry is so needed, and partners like you are making the biggest difference, even with a $25 gift. I visited one woman who was a single mother of 3 young children, and she lived in a tiny apartment in Kiev that her daughter was playing with a candle and the whole house burnt down, and the whole inside. And so she doesn't have anywhere else to go. And so you go and the whole house is charred. The walls are charred. Everything that she physically owned, which wasn't a lot, burnt to a crisp, and she's still living there because she has nowhere else to go.
Gosh.
And the fellowship went with a doctor, first of all, for her children because they're not well. And we went with a food box, and we went with blankets because they didn't even have blankets in the freezing Ukrainian winter. And we went with toys for the children. And so all of this, it's not hundreds of dollars, especially in the former Soviet Union. A relatively small amount of money go very far. That for $50, you're taking care of everything that this family needs. And then after I went to an elderly woman, Irina, she's a Holocaust survivor. She lives alone, and she fell and broke her hip and was in bed, and she was crying to me. She said, "I'm never going to walk again. I'm going to die in this bed." And the fellowship is the only one who comes and brings me food and brings me everything that I need. And it was that moment that I realized, praise God that we found her in time. Because otherwise, it's not like in America or Israel where there's some sort of support network. Yeah. You have the municipal social workers, you have food stamps. They don't have that. Their elderly stipend in Ukraine and the former Soviet Union hasn't changed since communism. It's around $76 a month. And so when we go in with $50 worth of goods, we're almost doubling what they were otherwise not able to buy.
You see, what you've just said, this is the whole point, because that's 2 accounts of 2 people, but there are thousands. And when you partner with us on this House of Destiny, when you join with us, like Yael said, $25, Kim used to speak about the $5 in your face offering that I loved so much. But whatever amount it is that God has put on your heart now to give, know that when you do that, like Yael is saying, this woman, her children were able to be checked out by a doctor and to be in the former Soviet Union in those kind of temperatures without even blankets. This is us being the hands and feet of Jesus, where we can't physically go. Yael is physically going because she's incredible and insane at the same time. I love her. When she's doing that and the fellowship is doing that and they're on the ground and doing what they're doing, when we're giving, and as we sow into that, we're sowing into something that is eternal. And when you do that, you yourself, wherever you are in the world watching this, you are part of fulfilling ancient prophecy, which is absolutely incredible to me in every single way when you actually think about it. This is a privilege. More than a mandate, it's a privilege, it's a joy. There's a responsibility on us to take care. There's a responsibility on us to take care of the Jews, of course, but there's also, this is a privilege. It's a joy to be able to do this. And so just know, those are 2 people that Yael told us about. There are thousands. And when you sow, when you give, when you donate, know that firstly, you're sowing into something that is eternal. And secondly, you're making a difference in so many people's lives. It can literally be the difference between life and death. Yael, I have one question for you before we wrap up, because I know it's late for you in Israel and I have kept you here for a long time, ma'am.
With pleasure.
And I have absolutely loved seeing your beautiful face. But here's a question for you. In terms of, obviously, there's always 2 sides to everything, but what would it mean? You spoke about emergency supplies being prepared. What would war mean for the Ukrainian Jews? How would that impact them, specifically these Jews that are living in this kind of volatile area?
Well, I think as we've seen historically, not only in Ukraine, but everywhere in the world, when there's uncertainty, when there's financial collapse, when there's any sort of political unrest, the Jewish people are targeted first.
Yes.
And so I think that whenever we look at situations of conflict, whenever we look at geopolitical changes that are making people upset or scared or insecure, we can always look and find a direct connection between that uncertainty and fear and a rise in anti-Semitism.
Yes.
And we're seeing it across the world
Yes.
right now.
Yes. And I think this is the other thing that for everybody out there, and this is a big passion as well, Aliyah. I know that that's part of it. And this is where, we saw in the video, and, you guys would have seen it in Zechariah chapter 8, verses 7 and 8. It says, "This is what the Lord Almighty says. I will save my people from the countries of the east and west. I will bring them back to live in Jerusalem. They will be my people, and I will be faithful and righteous to them as their God." And this, again, at the time that this was written, or, kind of seemed impossible, but we're living in this time of fulfillment now. And obviously, like you're saying, Yael, the Jews are targeted first. The rise in anti-Semitism has been absolutely insane, and we know Kim prophesied about the rise of a Fourth Reich, which is something we're watching because, post-Holocaust, you would think, how could somebody ever in a million years consider echoing this insanity and rhetoric of the Nazi regime? But we're seeing it rise up, around the world. And like you're saying, whenever there's a crisis, the Jews are targeted first. But I know that the other thing that you've done is you've helped Jews from the former Soviet Union where they're able to come back to Israel.
Yes, it's something that, as you read from Zechariah, and we see in Isaiah and Ezekiel, the Jewish people returning home is not only a miracle, but it's a miracle that was foreseen thousands of years ago by the prophets. And when you read those words, I got the chills. I'm like, wow, that was me. He saw me. He saw my children. We came home. We came to Israel. And it's amazing to see how Christians are really stepping up to not only read the words of the prophets, but also to read the prophets and say, that's me. I'm helping them get home. I'm able to make that come to fruition. I'm able to bring the Jewish people home after thousands of years wandering from the east, from the west. And so the fellowship is dedicated to Aliyah. On Wings of Eagles is the ministry that brings Jews home in Aliyah. And just last week, we had 3 Aliyah flights from Ukraine that we continue as normal. We have flights from Russia, from Ethiopia, from South America, from France. Wherever you look, the fellowship will be there bringing the Jewish people home. And these aren't emergency flights. These are just our regular Aliyah flights that we are committed to doing no matter what's going on in the world. So it is, like you said, both an obligation and a privilege. I relate to that so much.
I love that so much. Yael, you are an angel. I adore you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my love. It's mutual.
Thank you so much for being with us today. I really feel it's such an honor. And again, everybody, this woman, incredible. But Yael, thank you. I'm genuinely grateful.
Christy.
Thank you. And so our viewers, again, join us. Partner with us when you donate to this campaign, when you say, I'm going to stand with Ukrainian Jews. You're sowing into something that's eternal and that is saving lives. You, me, us today upon the earth, like Yael said, it gave me chills. Zechariah saw her and her family coming back home at a time that was impossible. But we are able, as we stand with Ukrainian Jews, to be part of fulfilling ancient prophecy, and that is mind-blowing. So I pray that God would impress upon your heart. Go ahead and click that link and know that as you're donating, every single cent is going directly to helping these Jews, bringing some of them home when they're in situations that are impossible in the Ukraine, that are in danger, bringing life-saving medical support, heat, food to the Jews that are on the ground who are the most in need. So House of Destiny, I have total faith in you. I know that we've got there's an amount of money in my heart that I would like to raise, but I'm trusting God that that's going to quadruple. I'm just going out ahead and saying it. I have a number, and I pray that God would impress upon your heart and that you would say, I'm going to join with this, I'm going to do it, and I'm trusting God that we are going to be able to send an actual bucket of money to the Ukraine to be able to help know that we're being the hands and feet of Jesus, that as we stand with Ukrainian Jews, you, me, we're part of fulfilling ancient prophecy. I can't wait to see what you guys are able to do. I know God's going to speak to you, and I know that it's going to be a joy and a privilege for you, like it is for me, to sow into this Stand with Ukrainian Jews thing that we've got going on. So God bless you guys, and we'll see you next week at House of Destiny.
Thank you for joining us at the House of Destiny. We are a network with many options for viewing. Our main House of Destiny broadcasts are every Saturday and Wednesday. On Mondays, Prophetic Rewind is a look at all things Kim Clement prophesied over the years. And every Friday is Israel Update, which is all things Israel. Then we have Destiny Worship and Destiny Kids. Follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Rumble. Please subscribe to our email list at the bottom of our website. And for prayer, you can email us at hope@houseofdestiny.org.